What if I got up on all fours and I got my girlfriend to feed me?
The only thing I had in my mind was save the camera.
You can't just tell Timmy he's a winner. Timmy's got to fucking bring it to the table.
No, I need fatty, like, where's my deep fried chicken kind of?
No. You have not understood the assignment, sir.
I mean, it's gushing from our side. So if it's coming through his apartment, there must be even more water coming through.
Yeah, logic would dictate.
And this guy doesn't seem phased at all.
Bench Opinions. 3 idiots with amateur analysis.
Hello, and welcome to Bench Opinions. This might seem strange. Muxie's not with us, but this is purely circumstantial. I don't know. Staunchal, I don't know how to say it. But due to circumstances, he is not here. But fear not, he will be back, and he'll be back this week. We have a bit of an announcement to make. First of all, like and subscribe. Continue to support us. We really appreciate it. And share it with whomever you think would also like it. But we've decided to switch things up a little bit. We always joke about not really having that many fans, and we don't. But the few that we do have, we listen to you. Some people telling us that they like certain parts of the podcast. As we dive and dip through different various forms of entertainment in the hour and 20 minutes usually that we record, we felt that we would create bite-sized versions. And we have decided to split the podcast into 4 very distinct parts. Welcoming you to the first episode of what we've decided to coin for now, working title, WhatAWeek, where we just talk about our observations, essentially the first 20 minutes of the podcast that you're used to listening to, or maybe even a bit more since we have a own segment for it now. And then we have decided to compartmentalize or package, window dress. There's so many words for it. Football in its own format, rugby in its own format, as well as what we decided to coin the leftovers, which is all the rest of the sport that we decide to spend our time watching. So look forward to 4 episodes releasing on separate days every week. And it might seem like less, but it's definitely going to be more. And since Claus does not yet feel comfortable doing a full football episode with me, this week we've split it up a little bit. So I will be doing WhatAWeek now and rugby with Claus. And then I will switch to doing the rest with Muxie.
Correct.
There you go. So I hope that's a good, concise summary of what we're doing. But first of all, it's WhatAWeek, Claus.
Well, first and foremost, let us know if you even like this new format, and if you've got any sort of suggestions or any critique, definitely let us know about it.
But give this new format a bit of time. We thought long and hard about it. So
we might need to iron out some kinks.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect from the get-go.
But Claus was very observant and realized this means we're over the half-year mark for episodes. So if you're questioning our commitment to this situation, you are very much wrong. We're here, still here. Although, what do they say? The most 80% of businesses fail within the first 2 years.
So we've still got a while to go.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah.
So kicking off, WhatAWeek. Tell me about your week. I hear a little bit of a scratch in your throat there.
Yeah, I was ill the whole week, which is not fun. I think when we recorded the last episode on Monday evening last week, in this room, mentioned, why is my throat scratchy? This is not good. Right after reading about...
It's the mold that we have.
Could be that. Right after the reading an article about how this flu wave has swept Germany. And it swept me too. So I've spent a lot of time horizontal the last week. I finally feel a little bit better today. Well, not even a little bit better. I feel like I'm back. And I think when it's sort of in the rear view mirror, you kind of feel like, okay, it's good. I feel that today. So,
but it's still waving.
Yeah, it's there. But I think as long as you stay in first gear, you're fine.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I feel like. So I'll be taking it easy today. But hopefully I just feel so useless when I'm ill.
Have you been hanging out with a lot of children? Because everybody I speak to who's a parent or works in a kindergarten or something of that nature is complaining about the infestation that is going around town.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, like a vicious cycle that never ends until your children have an immune system. But I have not spent any time, actually no time with children, which is rare because we have a lot of friends with children.
Yeah.
But I have spent none. I just think it's just bad luck, honestly. And the thing is, being ill part is the one thing, but the other thing is just, I feel so damn useless. I don't know how people do it who don't work and just sit at home all day and do absolutely nothing. Don't know how they do it.
Oh, you mean like People, okay, I know what you're saying.
Well, what did you think I meant?
No, I was trying to figure out what you're talking about, but like you're talking about people like on the dole or
just
like,
people that people that are happy to do nothing all day. Like,
you get
all the time. I mean, it's good every now and then, but like particularly when people are very obviously being productive around you.
Yeah,
I feel extremely useless.
What do they call that? Cabin fever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's got more to do with like not even actually going outside and spatial situations. What do they say in German when the ceiling's falling on your head? Directly translated. Yeah. But I think for me, it's just that it's like, you just feel useless. I was like, I could be doing so many more better things with my time. And then I get up and I'm like, well, maybe not. Let's lie back down. So yeah, that was the biggest struggle, I think.
But then you did try and do some stuff on the weekend, and how'd that go?
Definitely, yeah. And then I got sick again. So I thought I was on Friday. I thought I was better. I was like, we're back. And then Saturday morning relapsed. But the road to hell is paved in good intentions, right? So
I saw from your Instagram posting that you went to 2 different restaurants over the weekend.
Yes.
The one looked Chinese and the other one looked Chinese.
What other one did I go?
The one table was round with a lazy Susan in the middle.
That was definitely Chinese.
And the other one looked like the same decor, just with square tables.
I think, that was a Japanese restaurant. Yeah, it was actually a lot of Asian food. This is correct. So the 2 meals that I did venture out for were both Asian. It was good food though. This brings me to my first observation though of the week. We were at this Chinese restaurant and really enjoying our meal. We love that place. You can really big sharing vibes. Love it.
Is this Ming Dynasty?
No,
or is this
Good Friends.
Good Friends, okay.
In the west of Berlin on Kantstraße. No naughty minds. It's the philosopher name. Kantstraße.
Oh.
And so not Tom Curry. Anyway, and I'm not supposed to talk about sport in the segment. And so we go there and we're all enjoying our meal. And thank God it only sort of I only caught it out the corner of my eye towards the end of the meal, or actually after we'd eaten. But I look over and there's this couple sitting there, and they've got their little dog on the seat next to them. And it's basically part of the table. Like I think the dog even ordered, because this lady's just completely void of any kind of morals, just feeding this dog off her plate and then taking with their hands. And this dog's then taking the piece of meat, putting it down on the seat, eating off the seat, And the very scary waiter who served us the whole evening, who I was scared to piss off at any moment, seemed completely fine with it. Like he smiled at the dog, thought it was cool. And I don't know if that's cool. I mean, I don't know what I think I know what your feeling is on that, but I just think what my mind jumped to, what if I got up on all fours and sat on the chair that I was on and I got my girlfriend to feed me and I did exactly what the dog did? People would be outraged.
Not in Berlin. In Berlin, you would be accepted in society.
Yeah, I might get a lot of numbers that way.
But it would also be politically incorrect to call you out on acting like a dog.
No, but then the Germans are very quick to, we spoke about this last week. They're very quick to judge you.
I've got 2 other questions.
Yeah.
A, why are you scared of this? Paint a picture for us. Why are you scared of this waiter?
We've been there before, and the last time we were there as well. He seems like he could be on the wrong side of the law.
All right.
And Chinese mafia vibes.
Okay.
So very short, quite stocky, tattoos.
Or triads or what?
Yeah, triads, exactly. That's the word. I kept saying Yakuza, but that's obviously Japanese. But
depending on which restaurant you were in.
But it was that vibe. And I was just like, and when we were ordering from him, it was almost, there was this automatic feeling of he's doing me a massive favor, which if we're looking at the dynamic of a restaurant, he definitely isn't doing me a favor. But that was kind of the vibe on it. And also we were ordering for 9 people at the same time, so it was quite it was a lot
chaotic, yeah.
But that's why I was a little bit scared of him.
And what kind of a dog are we talking? Are we talking about a little lap dog, or are we talking
Chihuahua?
A Chihuahua.
Yeah, but not a small little one that seems to be scared of everything. It had a bit of meat to it. It was not one of those miniature Chihuahuas. But just I don't get it.
Do you think this was somebody who works at the restaurant, or
judging by how the owners were behaving as well? at some point I looked over as well to look at the dog in disgust. When I took my disgust, the male owner, he'd obviously ordered something with bones.
Yeah.
But instead of just like taking the bones, eating it off the bone, and then putting the bone down, he basically just put the whole bone in his mouth.
Yeah.
And whatever he couldn't swallow, he kind of just spat out onto his plate. So it was a very strange. I think in their household, I don't know if table manners play a role. And for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm no bastion of etiquette at all by any means.
Yeah.
But I think to myself, like, do whatever you want at home. Feed the dog.
However you like.
Whatever like put the dog in the microwave with the food. No, don't do that. That's not good.
Oh my God.
My bad. What did I want to say?
I thought you were going to say it was a risky move bringing the dog into the restaurant.
No, I did not want to. We did. There was a joke at the table that isn't this cannibalism, but that's a story for another day. So that is my thing, is like, at home, do what you want. But I just think and I think that's what must happen with regulars at restaurants. I think regulars at restaurants are like, this is essentially my living room.
They get a little bit too comfortable.
I can do whatever the fuck I want here.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, they all know me. Hey, and then you feed your chicken to your dog.
Suddenly you've got your hand in your pants and you're walking around in your sweats.
Exactly. I don't know. That was definitely a strange situation. And the thing is that, like, universally, everyone at our table was like, that's fucked up.
Is it something that would put you off of going to that restaurant again?
Oh no, definitely not. First of all, the food is amazing, and like, again, we were talking about it last week with those girls in the concert. Like, I noticed it once. It was disgusting. It was something that then also was a point of discussion at our table, which was quite humorous, actually.
Right. But
like, there was no real world tangible effect on my life.
Okay.
Like, it's not like, I think if they were right next to us, maybe, I think then you start hearing how the dog chews, and like, it's very like right next to you, but they were sort of at more than an arm's length away.
They were in their own space. They weren't encroaching on yours. Okay, fair enough.
And I think also the problem is, in a restaurant, I think you have to realize it's a shared experience. And I think if you start getting triggered by things like that, you're going to have a tough time being at any restaurant, because I think people generally at tables do their own thing, and a lot of the time it's not very nice to look at or hear or observe.
No, fair enough.
So I think you have to be careful. You have to kind of pull the handbrake on your own sanity. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to go eat out anymore.
And were there any pets at the Japanese restaurant eating from their owner's plate?
No. That was a very clean, very Japanese experience.
I was gonna say, pretty on brand.
We went to the Toyota of restaurants, the
Lexus of
just keep it here.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So yeah, how was your weekend? I think it was a bit more adventurous than mine.
My weekend was pretty interesting, actually. I went to the Czech Republic for the first time ever. I've never been to the Czech Republic. The place that we went to was called Liberec, which I thought sounded very Irish, but is in Czech Republic, about 4 hours away from here. And it was beautiful, but it's tiny. Okay. I mean, Liberec itself has got about 104,000 population. We double checked on the way home yesterday, but generally it's got village vibes. And we went skiing, and we were very fortunate as we were leaving that day. There was a bit of a snow dump here in Berlin, which I think for you guys must have been pretty.
Yeah, we can get to that. Yeah. I mean, the thing about, first of all, I don't remember being this cold in Berlin for a long time.
Yeah.
Yesterday being outside was not pleasant, and I was pretty warmly wrapped, and it was not fun. And also we're used to snow at this time in Berlin, but it's maybe, like, as you said, it's a dump, and then maybe for a day or two and then it melts. But this time there's been continued cold weather, so the snow is still around. The sidewalks are treacherous.
Yeah. Get your ice skates out.
Yeah, people are in complete self-preservation mode. Emotionally, people are in self-preservation mode anyway this time of year, usually, because it's dark and terrible for 4 months in a row. But now you can see people are just like head down through, and you're trying to find your own route along the icy sidewalk. But yeah, it's been super cold. But obviously I've been inside, so it's been nice to be inside and see the snow.
Yeah.
But
also it's been fairly sunny, so you've got blue skies, and that's quite nice. Yeah.
Sorry, we digress. Back to Liberec.
Yeah. So we went skiing 3 days skiing. if anybody wants to go skiing instead of going to Austria or Switzerland or France, which can usually be pricey and skiing holidays are renowned for being quite expensive, Limerick was quite a good alternative. I think we paid 30 euros per day on ski passes. And the hotel that we stayed at was like $40 a night, breakfast included.
Awesome.
And the portions were pretty big. And it was quite interesting because the one night they had a massive party there and they had this like Czech Republican band that played and they were super loud. And my room and our good mate Martin's room was right above the dining area. So yeah, we had a bit of music until like 1 a.m. or something like that. Obviously music we couldn't understand either, but other than that, it was pretty chilled. And the slopes were, I think we got really lucky because of the snow, because it was snowing, but it's not really that big. So if you go to Austria, you're used to having like your 14, 15, 16 kilometers of slopes that you can sort of spread across the mountain. Whereas here, I think the longest run was like 2 kilometers or something like that. And there was like 2 or 3 possible routes you could have gone. So it was a lot more condensed. I would say for a weekend, it was great because you could still get enough fun out of it. But I think if you were there for like 5 days, you would get bored of doing the same run the whole time.
All right.
Yeah.
Good place for someone like me probably to learn to ski.
I would say yes and no at the same time because I think there's one blue slope.
Okay.
Everything else is red and black.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
that surprises me.
Yeah.
Because I don't associate it. I don't associate Czech Republic to like being super mountainous and.
Yeah, actually, if you travel like an hour further than what we went, then you get to like the proper mountains and you get a lot better ski resorts. But
what I've heard though is like English,
not so much,
and German even difficult. I've heard
we had more luck in German than we had in English. Actually, yeah. One of the waitresses that I was chatting to, she was very fluent in English, but I say very fluent. I was trying to ask her for a local liquor as like a rachmarker.
Oh, okay.
And she was suggesting Talamorju. I was like, that's not local. And then I was like, no, what's a local liquor in the Czech Republic? I would recommend Jägermeister. I was like, never mind. I'll go with the Talamorju. She's like, or you can have this. And I was like, what's that? She's like, no, this is from Czech Republic.
Oh,
I was like,
God.
okay, well,
so she wasn't that fluent in English.
But the rest of the time she was like, pretty accent free.
Yeah, it's funny to speak about people that like generally either believe they're better at a language than they are, or like have been told they're better, or like are good at selling it. As I was listening to similar situation, I was listening to watching some German football with English commentary, and there was this obviously an ex-German player who was there who spoke like this American twangy English, and he speaks English like someone who's reading a thesaurus as they do it. So he's trying to sound smart. So instead of saying kicked, he's like going to the fourth word as a synonym for kick.
Right.
And just completely using it out of context. And sometimes I just like, that's what I think about with people like this. They've been told by everyone who's terrible at English around them how good their English is.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, and then they don't understand the basic question like, what is the local liquor here?
Yeah. No, fair enough. That being said, I saw an Instagram post this morning, which I thought was quite amusing, where there was this chick from Singapore who was going on a rant about how some British dude was insulting her about her English and was saying like, oh, you don't speak proper English, blah, 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 blah. And she then sort of told this whole story and then went and showed a stat that like the top 5 most proficient countries in English are like Singapore, the Netherlands, like all these other countries. And then you've got the Brits going, oi, bruv.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Yeah. But I mean, that's something that I think was, I liked, someone told me an approach once to the whole English thing and accents is like, at the end of the day, the person you should make the least fun of if they're speaking English to you with a heavy accent or struggling is that person, because they're actually trying to speak. It means they speak an additional language.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is like, John from Texas has never spoken a word of any other language in his life.
Yeah.
Or even the UK. You're telling me fucking Jason from Leeds.
Tom and
Peter.
Like
he's probably said buongiorno the one time he was in Italy, and then says hola once a year when he lands in Spain for his yearly holiday. So, that's one of those things.
Exactly. So that was quite funny. But other than that, the skiing was amazing. We had a great time. I had 2 accidents. No, I think the one you might have seen on
when you slid down,
Yeah, so obviously by trade, I'm a cameraman and a videographer, and a lot of our friends are also in that same industry. And going on the skiing holiday, there was 5 of us. 4 of us are camera operators. So it's going to be a good opportunity
for content.
For content. And we had our mate Martin, who's an amazing cameraman, and Tim. And they had Insta360s and GoPros, and Tim was flying his drone, and we got some amazing footage. And he is like, "Hey, Claus, here, you take the Insta360 and go for a bit of a like send it down the mountain, and we'll capture some footage." And I just hit this patch of ice that's like 30 meters long. Like you could kind of see the ice, and for me personally, I feel more comfortable just sending it, going straight on the ice, so that you're not trying to slide around the corner and then wait until you get into a bit of snow to then do your turn or slow down. But it just kept on going and going and going, and eventually just standing straight, my feet just slipped out from below me, and the only thing I had in my mind was save the camera. So I hold the camera in the air, and you got this amazing shot of me just sliding down the mountain and then popping out on the other side. And then Martin, as friendly as he is, comes and sprays me right after that.
Yeah.
No hold back.
Sounds like something Martin would do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm always torn as to whether I actually want to invest time learning skiing or not. Because my girlfriend is Austrian, and her family, they all ski.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple times where she says, just come with us. We'll teach you. And I've had Maxi, our friend, who's not here to defend himself, do that once to me, and it was one of the scariest fucking things I've ever done in my life. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like, I've got an expensive hobby again, which is golf already,
Yeah.
And B, like, I don't know, I'm always, with these kind of things, it's always like, I'm always like, how long is it going to take? How much time and money is it going to take me to get to the level I'd want to be at, which is obviously not be able to ski like you, but to keep up to people like you, so that I can go on holiday with people like you and enjoy the time with you. And I feel like too long. I think the ship has sailed.
Yeah. It's definitely a tricky one, because I was having this exact same conversation with a friend of ours. I don't want to throw him under the bus, so I'm not going to mention who it is, but he was essentially saying that he in the past has invited friends to come join them on their like massive group skiing holiday.
Yeah.
And the problem is that these people would underestimate how good they were at skiing. And I mean, this guy, he spent like seasons in the slopes, for years. So he's a very, very proficient skier. And then he brings this guy along, and he's actually terrible. And you're just like, oh man, you're actually slowing down the whole group, and everybody just wants to send it. And they keep on having to stop and wait and help him back up and all these different things. And he actually admitted to me, he's like, this is one of the reasons why I've never invited you to come skiing with us. And I was like, fair enough. I completely get that. Because I get frustrated, like, if I want to, I don't know, say we go and we play squash, and you pay 20 euros for an hour, or 30 euros for an hour, and then you got to spend it like teaching somebody how to play. It really grates my tits. So.
Or you got to be like those nitwits that just tie themselves to their children. Just say to your mate, hey, listen, easiest way for you to learn is just keep up. You put a string between the two of you,
and just
the way they tow cars in South Africa, and off you go, bro.
You say that. So we've got this app called Slopes where we're tracking all of our runs, and the fastest run that I went on in this on this holiday was, I think I just cracked like 68 kilometers an hour, which is like, considering like that's the speed that cars would drive through the city, right? That's quite pacey, right? And then we looked at our mate Tim and our mate Martin, and looked at their speeds. And Martin was on a snowboard, so it's a little bit slower than skiing, but he was cracking like 88 or something like that. And our mate Tim on skis went 124, I think was his top speed. You're just like, no, that's almost double what I was going, and I was feeling very uncomfortable.
That doesn't sound. It's like, it's also the one time I was on a jet ski and we were with family friends, and they were a little bit show offy,
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, bro, my jet ski can go to 85 kilometers an hour, bro," and I'm like, "All right." Well, now I have to see that for myself.
Yeah.
And I hit 85, and it's probably not even the fastest a jet ski can go. I'm sure there's some other people listening to this podcast that are like, oh, that's nothing.
That's idle speed.
That was ample for me.
Yeah.
Ample. It was fucking terrifying. If you hit that water,
oh, it's rock solid.
I think you're dunzos. And then he also then told me right after that, he's like, also, if you go at 60 kilometers an hour, what you can do is you can just turn on the spot and go, and it'll dip and turn itself on a sixpence. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess I have to find out. And I did it, but it was one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life.
It didn't fling you off.
No, bro. He says, hold on, brace, and then you'll be fine. And because it really just like where the handles are, even though your exhaust or whatever it is out the back, the jet is at the back. It like that's the pure center of its gravity. So it kind of just spins on the spot. So you're kind of stuck in that sort of. Yeah, but it's not. I don't know why I did it, but
you did it.
I did it. There you have it. But it's
because you knew one day you would have a podcast where you need to talk about it.
Maybe. Yeah, it's not as cool as the whole helicopter extraction thing from Liberia that we once told, but it's cool. I don't know how many jet skis they have in Liberia either. But although that sounds like something warlords would buy.
Yeah, you can race up the rivers there.
Three or four villages pillaged, and it's like cool. We can afford a jet ski now. But yeah, otherwise, have you another observation for me is this week is unsolicited voting advice, because we have elections coming up this weekend on Sunday. I, and so have you, because I saw the letter on your thing, have chosen to vote via post, which is quite nice because it's far more convenient. You don't have to go stand in queues at the voting stations on Sunday. And it's quite it's not a political podcast, so we're not going to get into it, but it's quite a hotly debated election this time around, because we've come through 4 years of a really bad coalition. And anyway, you can read about it if you want to find out about it. But because of that, like I feel like people have been quite vocal on particularly my social media. And I was surprised at how angry I got at the unsolicited voting advice I was getting from peers on social media. And it shocked me a little bit. And that's really interesting to me as a concept, because I think we should be debating these things, but I think maybe the one-way communication of that Instagram, the Instagram story of the funny thing as well all the time is like they'll be like, there's so many lies everywhere, read up on this, and then the next sentence is people bashing a party.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. But maybe it's the one-way nature of the communication tool, which is Instagram, because it's not a debate. You feel like you're just being lectured to. But I do sometimes, again, like I always look like the same with the dog. I always look like for a way, I'm like, okay, but what if I did that in any other scenario? Yeah. I just walked through the streets and just walked up to someone and was like, do you really think those socks go with that belt? And then just keep walking.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know. It's just such an interesting concept. And again, for me, the whole thing was I was so shocked how angry I got. I was like, stop telling me what to do.
Yeah. How did you grow up when it came to like political views? Because my family was sort of, this is the way that they sort of raised myself and my sister, was political views is something you kind of keep private, and if then you talk about it with your family or like your closest friends, but it would definitely not be something that I would ever broadcast on social media or shouting it from the rooftops. What was that for you? Like, was that something that you would have, that you and your family would have like open conversations with just about anybody, or was it quite a
No, I think it was
thing?
a similar approach. I think with South Africa's makeup, I think also unfortunately, I think the reality is in South Africa for a long time, people might have felt their vote wasn't as important, particularly if you weren't voting for the ANC. So I think the good thing now about South Africa, I think, is that political debate is there, rife, because there are changes happening, and whether they're the good or bad is anyone's guess. But I think change is as good as a holiday, as the saying goes. So I think for us it was, you went and you did your thing. I think that was important. Voting was the most important thing. Whoever you voted for was irrelevant. That was kind of the situation at our table. Yeah. And I think if it came up in conversation, I don't think people shied away from it. Yeah. But I think the reality is, if we're being honest, there was a serious assimilation within my parents and our circles. people generally voted for a similar party or had similar views. And I think because of that, the level of debate maybe was not as high. Whereas what I find in Germany is that you can have people that grow up in exactly the same scenarios, situations, social demographic makeup, and yet they have completely split views.
Right.
So you look at someone and be like, this guy definitely is a socialist, communist, blah. And then next 2 minutes later, you hear about all his crypto investments and how he believes that the state should be out of everything.
Yeah.
And he just wants to make his millions. So it is interesting. It's an interesting thing. But yeah, go vote. That's important. And that's the only thing I'll say about politics. I think the people that go like, oh, who cares? Doesn't matter. I think that's not a good way to look at it.
Well, if you believe in democracy, then you should definitely go vote because that's the backbone of it. So anyway, I think that's as deep as we're going to get into that without getting ourselves cancelled or getting a new following that we didn't expect to garner.
Maybe.
Either way,
but speaking of politics, did you see Elon Musk seems to have another baby now from
that doesn't surprise me.
Very vocal Republican social media star.
Okay.
Ashley St. Clair is her name. That's child number 13.
He always said he needs to populate the earth with more people. So
yeah, he can. At some point, he's going to be able to do it with his whole family. It's like, okay, it's going to Mars is going to be a family holiday.
They can literally repopulate.
He's like, listen, if you people don't want to do it, I'll do it on my own.
Yeah, fair enough. You should do it.
What a strange man.
What I wanted to talk to you about was on the skiing holiday, as I mentioned earlier on very briefly, is that we use this app called Slopes. And what ended up happening was not only were people sort of tracking their own runs and their speeds and their average speeds and the amount of time they spent on the slopes and all that sort of jazz, but it got quite competitive. Or some people got quite competitive, other people didn't care at all. Do you find it quite interesting that people would latch onto, like, it's not like we're out there competing? Do you find it interesting, or have you seen it in other sort of spheres that people would latch onto a little bit of information, go like, "Oh, I beat you in top speed there." And like, okay, well, we weren't even competing. No, I was just doing my own thing. You were doing your own thing.
It's difficult because I think all of us in our friendship group that grew up playing a lot of sport are inherently competitive when the time comes. I think I love statistics and like metrics. So for me, I think it would be cool, but more as a test for myself. Mm-hmm. But I do find it a little bit strange. Like, I think the initial, like, "Ooh, I beat you at that." The initial, like, engagement, if it's reciprocated, cool.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, cool. Now we're competitive. But I think after the first try of like being like, hey,
yeah.
If it's not reciprocated, I'm not going to, every time we sit down for a beer between a run, go, "Bro, I beat you again, man."
Yeah. I see it a lot in something like golf. That's the first thing that comes to mind, is where somebody is like, "I outdrove you." Yeah. I'm like, okay, but you still shot 120 on this round, and I shot 90.
Shout out to Conrad. Fucking Conrad.
But I outdrove you. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter if you're going to 3-putt it, and also...
Oh, look at that, Klaus.
That's why I was kind of thinking of that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I believe competition is this new thing of giving everyone fucking participation awards as kids. I don't get it.
No,
and everyone gets a prize. No. It's good that we have a little bit of chutzpah as in our lives and compete. You don't have to race the person that you're walking along the sidewalk with.
Yeah.
Like, relax. It's all good.
I beat you.
Yeah. Or like challenge random people to arm wrestles. Don't have to go that far. But I think it's healthy competition is really good. And that's why I always say that's the reason I think I continue to want to play for something like our golf team, because it gets you into a different space when you're playing golf, and there's a little bit of like it's still nothing. At the end of the day, you walk off the course. It means nothing, but I think it's really good for there's a little bit of, I don't know, it's probably endorphins or something that get released, and you can test yourself, which is good.
I 100% agree with you on that. I think there's something to be said for somebody focusing on trying to be the best they can be in that particular moment, and that those strategies that you develop in that moment translate to all sorts of things in your life. Beyond that, learning to win, but also learning how to deal with losing are soft skills that I think lots of people growing up with today tend to struggle with when they then hit the real world, and then they maybe get knocked down for whatever reason, whether that be a breakup or losing a job or not getting the promotion that they were vying for. Having those soft skills to understand how to deal with that, I think is very, very important to society. And as you said, when you start taking that stuff away from children and saying like everybody's a winner, that's not how the world works.
Yeah, because little Timmy, who's similar to I was, 15 kilograms overweight and a bit of an asshole, is not a winner.
Timmy's not so little.
You can't just tell Timmy he's a winner. Timmy's got to fucking bring it to the table. Otherwise, Timmy must feel how shit it is to lose, and then maybe he'll not want to lose again. Just saying. I'm not saying I'm solving the world's problems, but that's maybe something that we can look at. Yeah, but competition, I'm looking forward to getting out there for a little bit of golf sometime soon. The weather, next week we have double figures in sunshine, Klaus.
Yeah.
Which looks good.
But before we go and play golf outside, we've got a bet that, a tournament that myself and our good mate Brian managed to pip you and Maxi in Scotland when we had our golf tournament.
Very good. It was
and
actually...
we've got a bit of a reward coming on this weekend. What is that?
Yeah, so we're going to a place called Evo Golf. This is not sponsored. But it's a simulator, sort of clubhouse simulator situation here in Berlin. And I was thinking this morning that we have to maybe choose our course ahead of time, get there 15 minutes early, because I can tell you actually about something else I did on Friday, but these places, they have like a 45-minute, put your name in the system, choose the golf course, and there goes half your time.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to be there 1:45, tell them our names, then put them in the system. We need to know what course we want to play so that we use that 2 hours to the fullest.
Yeah. No time wasted. This was something that I struggled with on the skiing holiday. Sorry to interrupt you. So we had all agreed, we're like, the best snow is in the morning. Yeah. When the slopes are prepared, when the fresh snows come down overnight, don't let anybody else ski over those patches. You want to be the first carving your marks in that mountain. Dude, was not opening time, and we're still sitting at the kitchen in the breakfast room, and guys are like, oh, I forgot my socks upstairs. I still need to go up. And actually, I'm going to take shit as well. And now dude, I was fucking boiling. I was like, guys, we're wasting precious time here.
Yeah, this is, yeah. I think I'm also quite regimented in that sense. Like, I feel like I need to, not as bad as Maxi. Maxi, like, fucking, if he doesn't get there, he's combusts. But he's if you go on holiday with that man, he operates. I think I'm somewhere in between the two of you, kind of. I don't know, but yeah, definitely, and that's what we went to. Zanya and I went to on our Valentine's date. We went to this place called Lane 7 on Friday.
Sweet.
Very sweet. Lane 7 on Friday, which is a British concept, and essentially it's like an arcade, temp and bowling, mini golf, darts, shuffleboard, all in one. So it's a pretty cool concept. They've got a bunch in the UK. Berlin's the first one outside of the UK. But same thing there, so we booked like a package, and in the package you can do 3 of their activities, all 3 of them. So bowling, you just play 1 game of bowling, which is fine because it's not set to time. 1 game of putt-putt, which is fine because it's not set to time. But you go to the darts, you only have half an hour, and this chick takes fucking 12 minutes to put our names in the system.
No, my word.
And I'm like, well, now what must happen here, And that's I found interesting, and that's what triggered my thing for Evo Golf on Saturday. Is like, we're voting on a golf course, we're picking it early, and we're going. No, because I think otherwise, I'm interested to see how we fit in there on Saturday, though. Maybe
somebody in the comments can give us a suggestion of which course we should be playing.
Yeah, I think. I personally feel I would shy away from things like Pebble Beach and Augusta, only because
you want to play them in person.
Not only that, I think that's a real stretch. Like I have pretty lofty ambitions for the golf courses I want to play, and I think some of them are quite realistic. But I think just because I've played so much PlayStation golf as a kid, and I've played those courses 100 times. It would be cool to try and find a course that maybe the chances of you playing it is just like minuscule.
Right.
Like I mean, Augusta's 0. There's no way you're ever playing it.
North Korea.
Yeah, dude. Pyongyang Country Club. That's actually where the world record for the lowest ever score in golf was made by...
Was it 18?
Kim Jong-un was 18, yeah.
Yeah. 18 hole-in-ones in a row.
Listen, man, stranger things have happened. Actually, I literally think nothing strange has ever fucking happened in that. But you gotta love it, man. That, you see, that's what would happen to our world if fucking Timmy is always a winner. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You become a crazy fucking dictator and tell the whole world that your country won the World Cup and you shot 18 on 18 holes.
And he was the little fat kid.
He still is the little fat kid. If we're not here for next week's episode, we've been X'd by some North Korean operatives. Just saying. But he also loves cheese, apparently.
He's a big cheese fan.
They say he's like a huge, because he studied in Switzerland.
Oh man, I can be friends with him. I love cheese as well.
And literally, there's like reports that this guy is like addicted to cheese, and like his doctors had to tell him, dude, like
slow down,
because he gained like 27 kilograms in a year, and he was just like feeding himself with cheese, and he had like public appearances. So there was a period where he didn't appear in public for like 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
And everyone was like, what the fuck's going on? Apparently it was because he started to like develop gout, and like he was starting to get like super fat because he ate so much fucking cheese.
This actually leads me into a great little segue into another thing that I wanted to ask you about. You know the ketone diet. Atkins keto diet. I wanted to hear what your views on it, because one of the guys that we went skiing with now on the weekend, he's just started it. So he's a mid-50s kind of guy. He I'd say he's relatively lean, but you know, just with age you get a little bit of a boop, or what's commonly known as a stomach.
That's what I'm carrying.
And so I don't know if this is something he thinks or if this is something he's been tested on, but he's of the opinion that he has got a lot of fat around his intestines. Not as much like superficial fat, but more around his intestines, and it's causing problems. So he's now gone on this keto diet, which is supposed to change your the way that your body breaks down or uses energy, and where it gets its energy source from. In this case, you're retraining it to get its energy source from fat and not straight from glucose. So what you do in the process is you eat a lot of sort of low carb or no carb, high fat and high protein diets. Yeah. And it was just very interesting to watch him pick his food, because it was just all about like, I need oily foods. It's all about oily foods. And I was like,
no, I don't think that's how it works. I'm not 100%
sure if that's... No, I need fatty, like, where's my deep fried chicken kind of...
No. You have not understood the assignment, sir.
That's what I thought.
But it's the same way. I saw this photo of a guy who had done the carnivore diet, but he went fucking ballistic.
Right.
And he ate so much that under his skin, cholesterol started to like emerge. Yellow cholesterol started bursting out of his veins.
Okay.
And then the doctor asked him, like, what the fuck, what have you been eating? And he's like, no, I've been doing it for 6 months, and I've eaten, I don't know, something ludicrous, like some stupid amount of calories every day, purely in fatty meat.
Yeah.
That's it. And he says he's never felt more energized in his life, but cholesterol's popping out of his veins. So.
Well, I mean, you know, there you go.
I think everyone must just balance, you know?
Yeah,
just like, Timmy can win sometimes, he can lose sometimes. You know, you can also shoot 65 as a dictator and people will be impressed. Yeah. It doesn't have to be 18. Also have 1 block of cheese a day, not 18 blocks of cheese a day.
Maybe have a leaf of salad in between.
Just balance, bro.
Yeah.
Balance.
Unreal. No, it's, look, I'm no nutritionist, and so I don't know, maybe this works. From a gut feeling, excuse the pun.
That's very good. Well done.
Thanks, man. Been working on that all morning. I feel like it's not going to be a good way of going about it. But he himself even says, he's like, look, my cholesterol most definitely is going to go up. But this is supposed to be like a 6-week stint, see how it goes, and then go back to a normal diet. So it's not something that he's looking to keep going for indefinitely or forever.
I think anyway, the sentiment of trying to look at ways to improve is good.
Yes,
I think that's a good base, because I think a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are like, I guess I'm fucking, this is me. This is I. And one thing leads to the next, and then you're on my 600-pound life on TLC.
The other thing that I said to him, and we spoke about this in the podcast just before or just after New Year's about New Year's resolutions. The other thing I said to him was like, dude, I've got to take my hat off to you in respect, because most people wait for some point in time or some massive occasion to then do something about their weight or their this or their that. And he's just sort of randomly gone, I have looked at myself in the mirror and I've identified the situation, and this is how I believe I need to be solving it. So to be able to then go in with enough conviction just randomly to then also go and pursue this thing for, I think his diet window is going to be 6 weeks that he does this program. Got to take a hat off to that.
Yeah, and I mean, I have read a lot about keto, and I've read a lot of good things. So I think anyway, generally, like, again, we're not giving any political advice or investment advice or diet advice. But again, it's also, I think anything, if you eat too much gluten, the best way to get off gluten probably is keto, because it's zero. It's because you're cutting out carbs. And the same can be said for if you're eating too much red meat. The best way to do it is probably go vegetarian, because everything else is kind of a gray zone. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Maybe I'll report back in 6 weeks as to his success or lack thereof.
I've also been doing dry February because we were in South Africa in January. So dry January was about as realistic as
the sun melting.
Or Kim Jong-un shooting 18. That's been good. Surprisingly feel great. Who would have fucking thought? Whoa, that's a surprise.
Man, I wonder if there's any science to back that up.
Yeah, exactly. But that's let's see how it goes. I haven't even it hasn't even crossed my mind, so it's pretty good.
Using all of this food and wine talk, I'd like to segue into talking about our kitchen.
Oh yeah.
So for those who don't know, Maxi and myself live together in this apartment where you see this phenomenal couch, also known as a Wohnlandschaft in German, and in the room just across over the wall. Through the wall, we have our kitchen and like a dining room sort of area. And on Thursday morning last week, I'm in the bathroom and toilet doing my business, and I hear Maxi walking around, and then suddenly all the lights go off. And I was like, oh my word, I feel like I'm back in South Africa. There's load shedding. And then I hear, oh fuck, oh no, oh my word, oh no, oh fuck. And I was like, what's going on? He missed the toilet, or what's the story? So I finish up, I go outside, and he's like, Klaus, get as many towels as you can. I was like, oh shit, okay, get my towels, run into the kitchen, flooded. It's like a centimeter of water just pooled up around the kitchen area, and then another section was dropping onto our dining room table. And you look up, and there's just water gushing out of the two light fixtures, the one in the kitchen, the one in the dining room. And we're like, oh my word, what do we do? So I immediately go get some buckets. Maxi's on the phone trying to figure out if there's some sort of helpline, the building management, if there's a helpline or Notrufnummer, as they call it in German, to contact about this. Nobody. Can't find anything. And the two numbers that he found, they were just either deadlines or nobody's answering at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm there in my Ondas wiping up for the water. Eventually, we remember that we're in this like WhatsApp group for the building. He starts messaging people in there, and nobody really knows anything. They're like, oh, we kind of live above you to the right. There's nothing happening on our side. So Maxi runs upstairs and rings at the door that should be right above our kitchen. And this guy comes out, but he doesn't really speak English and he doesn't really speak German. So he says, I not speak English good. And Maxi said, I just need to know, is there water like running through your apartment? Yes. He's like, okay. Like, is it bad? It's okay. Maxi's like, do you have any more information? He's like, okay, bye. And just closes the door. Essentially, But what we come to find out, because I mean it's gushing from our side. So if it's coming through his apartment, there must be even more water coming through.
Yeah, logic would dictate. Yeah.
And this guy doesn't seem phased at all. Anyway, long story short, we've got the buckets out, we've mopped up everything. We're trying to dry out carpets in the bathroom with fans and all that sort of jazz. And somebody from the back of the building comes over, and he's sort of the house manager, caretaker type guy. And he comes out and he's like, "Oh, I saw the message. Is everything all right? Can I just come check out the situation?" We show him the damage. And then he's like, "Okay, cool. I'm going to go upstairs and talk to this guy." We just try and like listen into the conversation. Also, very, very short conversation. But he asked him, "Can I actually come inside and look?" And just like he said, it was actually coming from the ceiling and it was coming through his apartment and then running into the floor and then down to our side. What ended up being the case was not the first floor, not the second floor, but essentially the floor of the third floor was where the leak was happening. So it was running through 2 stories of apartments before it came to us. So they had to go and turn the water off. So now we haven't had hot water since Thursday, which means showering is obviously extremely cold. Just as we told you at the beginning of the podcast, it's been snowing. It's been like -5. I mean, the sun's shining, but it doesn't make the water any warmer. So we've been going to the gym to shower. Well, I haven't even been here this weekend. So Maxi's been going to the gym to shower. On top of that, Maxi sends me a message on Saturday saying, "Listen, I've just gotten a message or read a message on the pin wall. The heating thermostat has exploded."
Oh God!
So now we don't have heating
That
and we don't have
why
hot
it's
water.
so cold in here. I thought you guys were just trying to save money.
No. Then yesterday he sends me a message. The second heating thermos for the back house has also exploded. So now the entire building does not have hot water or heating, and we don't really know when it's going to be fixed.
I just would like to come back to the gentleman that lives above you.
Please do, because that's the best.
A fucking psychopath that lives above you guys. And I would lock the doors and lock your own bedroom doors, because what kind of crazy motherfucker has water, a waterfall in his apartment and goes, yeah.
Yeah, I also don't understand.
Just look away. If it's, ignorance is bliss.
Maybe he's got aquaponics. And maybe he was like, it's just feeding into my water system, so it's fine. I don't know.
Oh, bro.
But he was, I didn't see him myself. This is, maybe Maxi can elaborate this more in next week's episode, but he was pretty unfazed about the fact that he had Niagara Falls in his kitchen.
Unfucking believable.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully next week we can talk about how you guys have hot water again. If you need a shower other than the gym, you can come to our place as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We also have heating. So,
oh man, you guys have just got it all.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
I would not want to know what would have happened to my illness if I had got caught in this apartment.
No,
with the
you would
cold.
have frozen solid.
100%. But yeah. But I think that might be a wrap for the.
I think on that note, let's close it out.
Feel sorry for us, or feel sorry for Claus and Maxi, and to warm their hearts. Subscribe, share,
send us some likes.
Yeah, clean them with your praise and your comments and your interactions, since they can't shower.
We appreciate you for listening.
Exactly.
Or watching.
We'll see you another 3 times this week for the other episodes. So
rugby, football, and the leftovers.
Au revoir.
Take care. Bye-bye.